Russia's Black Dolphin prison houses some of the country's toughest, most violent criminals.
Polar Owl, also known as Penal Colony No. 18 of the Federal Penitentiary Service of Russia, is a Russian penal institution where prisoners face unimaginable conditions and a daily struggle for survival. In this video, we will talk deeply about the harrowing reality of the prison, where temperatures soar to a scorching 50 degrees Celsius, pushing inmates to the brink of endurance. We will uncover everything that plagues this facility through personal accounts and shocking revelations. Keep watching this eye-opener as we shed light on the untold stories of those trapped within Russia's Owl prison walls. Get ready to be shocked, educated, and inspired. What is Russia's Owl prison? Owl prison, or Polar Owl, located on the bank of the Sob River near the polar Urals in the Karp urban-type settlement in the Yamal-Nenets Autonomous Okrug, is one of the most infamous prisons in Russia. Established in 1961 as a camp for prisoners who worked on laying the Salakar-Garka railway, it was later transformed into a supermax corrective labor colony where particularly dangerous recidivists and life convicts are held.
In this cell, a man who raped 44 minors and killed 5 children aged 7 to 11.
The Federal Penitentiary Service of Russia manages the prison and has a capacity 1014, but currently houses only 450 inmates. Living conditions at Russia's Owl prison are inhumane, with prisoners facing unbearable cold, repulsive food, unsanitary conditions, and constant beatings. The worst part of the prison is the freezing nights, with temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius in the winter. Prisoners reported that the prison has no central heat to keep them warm, instead relying on small radiators on the floor. Some cells even lack radiators altogether, with only painted radiators on the walls to give the appearance of heat. The prison also has 1 to 2 dozen punishment solitary confinement cells, where prisoners are locked up for extended periods with no access to the outside world. Prominent Russian opposition figure and political prisoner, Alexei Navalny, claimed to have spent up to 27 nights in one of such cells. Reports of human rights violations against prisoners in Russia's Owl prison have circulated for years. In 2010-2012, some prison staff were accused of falsifying prisoner confessions and using physical and psychological violence to beat testimony out of inmates. Novaya Gazeta, an independent Russian newspaper, reported 190 fake turnouts, while Izvestia claimed 32 fake turnouts. According to Novaya Gazeta, the Federal Penitentiary Service tried to hush up the case as high-ranking officials could be involved. The impact of Russia's Owl prison on its prisoners is one of trauma and despair. Many prisoners expect to die within its walls. Despite this, advocacy efforts are underway, calling for reform and rehabilitation for prisoners facing soul-crushing life sentences. Now, this is where it will get more interesting. How does it feel to be here? Keep watching. Life inside Russia's Owl prison. Life inside Russia's Owl prison is a dire existence filled with unimaginable hardships and constant suffering. Imagine a place where extreme cold chills your bones, where prison officials rule with an iron fist, and where your fundamental human rights are stripped away the moment you cross the prison threshold. In the dead of winter, prisoners at the Polar Owl prison, also known as Penal Colony No. 18, are subject to cruel treatment. As temperatures plummet to 45 degrees Celsius, inmates must stand in formation without moving for extended periods. Any slight movement results in the entire group being doused with freezing water, a punishment that inflicts physical and mental torture on these already vulnerable individuals. And when spring arrives, a new form of torment emerges as mosquitoes and biting flies swarm the prisoners, adding to their anguish and despair. Upon entering Owl prison, the harsh reality sinks in. You are in purgatory, a place devoid of rights, compassion, or hope. Ukrainian filmmaker Oleh Sentsov, who endured 5 years at the prison on a terrorism conviction, recounts the brutality faced by inmates: beatings, humiliation, electric shocks, and threats of rape. Sentsov's harrowing experience sheds light on the grim and dehumanizing conditions within the prison walls. This desolate facility houses some of Russia's most incorrigible prisoners: serial killers, rapists, pedophiles, and repeat offenders serving lengthy sentences. Political prisoners like Platon Lebedev are also held here, adding to the diversity of suffering within it. The absence of adequate food, sleep, and health care further compounds the misery faced by inmates. painting a bleak picture of their daily struggles. Mealtimes offer no solace, with superficial and unsatisfying rations of porridge, soup, and minimal portions of meat or fish. The limited access to nutritious food leaves prisoners malnourished and vulnerable to illness. In solitary confinement, receiving packages from loved ones is forbidden, isolating inmates even further from any source of comfort or support. The endless monotony of prison life at Polar Owl involves menial tasks like stuffing envelopes, repetitive assembly line work, and others, standing at attention for hours, listening to repetitive recordings of prison rules. The mental anguish inflicted by impossible regulations and psychological torment by fellow inmates amplifies the already unbearable conditions within the prison. The ever-present threat of physical and mental abuse looms over the inmates, further fueling their sense of despair and hopelessness. Amidst the torment and suffering, the inadequacy of medical care adds to the prisoner's plight. Delays in receiving medical attention, misdiagnosed illnesses, and insufficient treatment reveals the systemic failures in providing even primary health care to those incarcerated. The scant medical equipment, limited to an X-ray machine for tuberculosis screenings, underscores the dire state of healthcare within the prison walls. As guards enforce arbitrary and oppressive rules, imposing punishments for minor infractions, prisoners endure endless hours of standing or sitting in rigid positions, their bodies strained and minds exhausted. The isolated and enclosed nature of Polar Owl Prison leaves inmates with no means of escape, both physically and emotionally, perpetuating their sense of confinement and despair. The stories of suffering and resilience within Owl Prison paint a vivid and sobering picture of life behind bars in Russia. The harsh conditions, lack of medical care, and abuse faced by inmates reveal the depths of human endurance and the enduring spirit of those trapped within its walls. Like this video and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this video. This will ensure you're the first to be notified when we post terrifying videos like this. Most notable inmates. You may also think, what can a human being do to justify being in this type of environment? Well, as stated, some of Russia's most incorrigible prisoners are here. Let's check out the most popular ones and their offenses. Yevgeny Anatolyevich Kolesnikov. Kolesnikov, known as the Orphan of Solikamsk, and his partner in crime, Olga Chekotina, committed unspeakable acts. They targeted elderly victims, robbing and ruthlessly ending the lives of 6 people in Solikamsk. Kolesnikov's tragic end in prison marked the conclusion of a chilling saga of violence and theft. Alexander Yuryevich Pichushkin. Known as the chessboard killer and Bitsa Park maniac, Pichushkin turned Moscow's Bitsa Park into a place of nightmares. Responsible for an astonishing number of deaths, up to 60 lives could have been taken by this remorseless serial killer. His life imprisonment sentence reflected the magnitude of his crimes. Mikhail Alexandrovich Yudin. The Berdsk maniac struck fear into the hearts of those in and around Berdsk from 1999 to 2002. His reign of terror left a community in shock as he carried out his gruesome acts of violence, creating a legacy of fear that still lingers in the town. Abdufato Tashpulatovich Zamanov. Originating from Tajikistan, Zamanov earned the chilling moniker of the Krasnoyarsk Chikatilo. Over a sinister 2-year period, he unleashed a wave of violence, targeting older men and women in Krasnoyarsk and its outskirts. His acts of hostility and brutality, including the horrifying assaults on young girls, etched his name in the annals of infamy. So there you have it, a brief glimpse into the dark worlds of these notorious figures, whose names evoke fear and dread in the minds of those who hear them. The walls of Owl Prison hold the memories of their heinous acts, a constant reminder of the darkness that resides within some inmates. In the end, this video about Russia's Owl Prison shows it isn't just a regular prison, it's where the worst of the worst end up. Life there is challenging and makes you think about how we keep people safe from horrible things. The prison is like a big warning sign about the importance of having solid rules to keep everyone safe from people who do bad things. If you liked learning about Polar Owl, smash that like button, drop us a comment, and hit subscribe for more awesome content.